Hi, everyone, and welcome. Just give a few seconds for everyone to get into the virtual room. Wonderful. Maybe we can put up the slides. Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're just waiting for everyone to join the session. Thank you so much for joining How to Build Your Online Personal Brand, hosted by Devant. I would love to welcome you all to this event. Thank you for registering and spending the next hour with us. Please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. Maybe you could let us know from where you're calling and what your career interests are. This is a safe space to help you build your online personal brand. My name is Sisha Maharaj, and I will be your host this evening. Next slide, please. Here is our Devant team. I'm here on behalf of the team. Next slide. And just to get started, to let you know, all participants have been muted. However, you can use the chat, then the Q&A to interact. There's no need to use video. This session is going to be recorded and it will be available afterwards for everyone who has registered and attended. You can post your questions using the Q&A function at any time. And future sessions are posted on the Devant website under all events, as well as on your school portal or the community portal from which you belong to. These sessions are also offered for free on a monthly basis, sometimes more than 1 month on a Wednesday from 7 to 8 Eastern Standard Time. And I want to welcome all of you who are in the country, outside the country, as well as say congratulations to those of you from the class of 2026 and for the class of 2025. So next slide. So at Devant, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, the purpose of Devant is to help everyone that we possibly can to get their ideal job as quickly as possible. The platform has everything you need all in one place with 24/7 access, and the platform includes AI-powered career tools, video-based career training, and professional career coaching and weekly virtual events like this one. So please make sure that you have registered online through your school or through your community to get access to all these powerful tools to assist you. Next slide, please. So without further ado, I am so excited to introduce Tiffany Ramnarine, our guest speaker for today and career coach. Tiffany is a field placement advisor at Humber College. She's a registered social service worker and certified career development practitioner, and she's going to take us through the content today. I'll be behind the scenes answering your questions and helping with the Q&A feature at the end. So Tiffany, the floor is yours. Thank you so much for being here again tonight.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you for all of you who joined this evening. So a little bit about my background and myself. I am working at Humber College currently. When it comes to employment and career services, it's definitely something that I'm very passionate about. I actually started this from my social service worker program, my practicum. I actually completed it at Unemployment Ontario office back in 2017. So since then, I've worked at a few different organizations focused on, whether it be tech, whether it be anyone from any background walking in. Job searching is not an easy process at all. It requires a lot of strength, a lot of focus, a lot of determination, and I'm definitely here to support. We will be providing time at the end for questions, but I believe you can also be inputting them in the chat or in the Q&A option as well, just so that they don't get lost. So just for a few things that we'll be going over today. The first one is how employers use LinkedIn. So if you're not on LinkedIn, or maybe you have a profile that you made and you haven't really used it, hopefully after today, we'll start being a little bit more active on there. Next, we have the components of a LinkedIn profile, making connections, a live LinkedIn review, and then a Q&A. All right. So, how do you think LinkedIn can help your job search and career? So maybe you have a friend who's found a job in the past, maybe you're interested and you have a few ideas as to how it might be helpful, but how do we think that LinkedIn could be helpful for us in our job search? And if you have a link to your profile, you're more than welcome to share it in our chat as well. What do we think? Yep, job searching. So you can definitely find a lot of opportunities on LinkedIn. Networking, absolutely. Perfect. Yeah, personal brand is a huge one, hence the title of this, the workshop this evening. Perfect. Yeah, so we definitely have a strong understanding when it comes to LinkedIn and how to leverage that personally when it comes to your job search. Okay, so understanding how employers use LinkedIn. So they use LinkedIn as a professional database to source candidates to fill a vacant position and to also learn more about you if they were considering you for an interview or to even send you an offer. So they do their searches by looking up keywords and skills. So you have your headline on LinkedIn, and that's actually one of the most important areas of your profile because the keywords that are included in your headline is actually what gets picked up by recruiters when they're doing their searches. So if you have it as just the job title of where you're working at currently, that's great, but you're always welcome to edit that information as well if you're still job searching, and that gives recruiters more opportunity to search for you, to search for skills that you have inputted in your headline for you to hear something back from them or for you to be offered an interview. And then we have their industry keywords are the foundation of your profile and increase your chances of showing up on more search results. All right. So, find industry keywords by searching through job postings. So, something that I always recommend anyone who's job searching to do is to sign up for job alerts based off of skills. So, for example, if you are an aspiring data analyst, there are lots of different titles, job titles for the same type of data analyst role, but different employers like to call them different things. So if you're going on to LinkedIn or if you're going on to Indeed and you're typing in data analyst, you might be missing out on other job titles and other opportunities that you're not searching for just because you didn't search for data storyteller, for example. But if you read the job description, you look at the requirements, you'll find that it's already very much aligned and very similar to what a data analyst does. It's just called something else. So when we sign up for these keyword alerts rather than job title alerts, anything that is mentioned within that job description will receive straight into our inbox. So if we go and we sign up for SQL, Python, Power BI, any job opportunity that has those words in the job description will be sent directly over to us. It doesn't matter what the official title is, as long as it has those keywords in there. So that's a little trick to kind of help you, especially if you're already, working full time. It's already difficult and tricky to, once you come home from work, to also go and apply for additional roles and opportunities and look for them as well. This makes it a little bit easier. It just gets sent directly over to you. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for one quick second. I am going to open up LinkedIn and we can kind of go over a profile together and what the different components are in there. So just give me one second. Okay, so I will just go over my own personal page and just keep these things in mind for when you're looking at your own profile, um, just to have as much filled out on here as possible. Okay, so the first thing that I notice when I look at a profile is this background picture here that we have. So the banner. There is a website called Canva. I can input that in the chat. The most important thing about Canva is that it's free. So you never will have to pay, or, well, they do have options for you to pay, but we don't want to do that right now. So if you are looking to create a banner or a background picture for your profile, Canva is a free option. So it doesn't have to be your name. It can be anything related to your occupation or your industry. Maybe you come from healthcare. Maybe you want to have, I don't know, some needles, something there. Maybe you are an artist. You want to have something related to that. So you have some flexibility when it comes to your LinkedIn profile. Next, we have our profile picture. So, if your profile picture is your passport photo, if it's you on vacation with sunglasses, we do want to make sure that we have a little bit more of a professional picture up here. So, again, you don't have to go and pay hundreds of dollars to get a picture taken. Just make sure you have a clear background, you're dressed professionally. Maybe you're just about to head out to an event. Just you can use that picture as well. You have your name, and then this is the headline. So this does mention my current place of work, but there's also a few things in here as well. So ATS optimized resumes, LinkedIn expert. So these are some things that if a recruiter was looking to fill, hopefully they would be typing in those keywords and those skills, and then my profile would pop up. Next is a summary. So we have this additional space here for us to share a little bit more about ourselves. It can be a little bit informal. You can make it funny. LinkedIn can be a very serious platform at times. So if there's something that you can sprinkle in here just to bring a little bit of humor in, I highly encourage you to do so. Top skills is also very important for you to mention. Then we have our connections. Your work experience. So just make sure your bullet points are all there and up to date, your education as well, and then any licensing certifications that you have completed, just make sure that those fields are up to date. So that's it there. I'm going to take a look in the chat. I'm not sure if we have any questions coming in, but even if it is not directly related to LinkedIn, I'm still more than happy to support.
So I see some comments in the chat, Tiffany, but nothing in our Q&A just yet.
Okay.
So just to remind everyone to please use the Q&A if you have specific questions. And I will pop some in there if I see any questions in the chat, just in case as well.
Perfect. All right, so we have another question for all of you. Who should you connect with on LinkedIn? Who are some people that we should be sending invites to? And also, when it comes to the Q&A, you also have an option to ask questions anonymously as well. Maybe you don't want your name to be shared. That's totally fine. Just ask away in the Q&A. We're all job searching here. We're all in the same boat. We're here to support. So anything that comes to mind, whether it be resumes, LinkedIn, interviews, please go ahead and ask. Yeah, people from within the same industry, 100%. Yeah, employees from a company that you wish to link with for sure. Anyone else we could think of? Yeah, alumni, that's a huge one, 100%. You never know where your peers may end up working, and maybe you want to reach out to them. You have them on LinkedIn, and it's the perfect opportunity to possibly see if they'd be willing to put in a good word. After sending a job resume, should I connect with the hiring manager? Yeah, so that's a really good question. I do usually recommend that just because it is very tricky nowadays, for us to even get our resume past that applicant tracking system, past that software for us to receive an interview. So I do encourage you, if you can find the person or the team who is in within the recruitment or HR at a company you're interested in working with, definitely send them a message, make it a little bit personable, tailor it a little bit, and it is a really good way to flag your profile. Yeah, potential new hires, that's also someone that we can connect with as well. So we'll just be going over the list here of some others that were maybe not mentioned. So professors and other support staff from your school. So if you have a good relationship with your professors from when you were in school, that's always a huge support. They have an amazing and large network. Um, they may be able to put in a good word for you somewhere. Past coworkers, 100%. You never know if you might need a reference, so it's good to maintain those relationships and contacts. Classmates and alumni, I know that was mentioned, friends and family, industry leaders, and employees from places you'd like to work. And then new connections you meet at networking events like this one. So if you haven't already popped your link into the chat, please go ahead and do so for your LinkedIn. You can always connect with me as well. I'll share my link at the end of our slideshow here. So yeah, if you haven't already posted your link for your LinkedIn profile, you're more than welcome to enter that information into our chat. And just a quick reminder again about our Q&A. Please feel free to ask away. We're more than welcome to support. Um, a number one rule when it comes to messaging a new connection, please create a custom message and avoid copying and paste. Or copy and pasting messages. I do see quite a bit of that when it comes to, ChatGPT. I have received emails where the prompt was accidentally left in the email. So please ensure, um, you're just double checking that information. And then even when we're pasting to our resume, so if you've, found a job description, you have your resume and you're like, can you please tailor this to this job? Don't rely on AI heavily too much for tailoring like that. But if you are going to and you are copying and you are pasting, please note that with ChatGPT, when you paste it into your resume, there's like this little bit of a shadow and it's also a different font. So the basic thing that we want to make sure that we can do is format what we're pasting into our resume to match the rest of this document. So same font, same style, same size, and really ensuring that the shadow is not left in the background of that. So we can hop into the Q&A. Again, please, if you think of anything, doesn't matter, small question, if you think it's silly, most likely someone else also has the same question and same concern as well, when it comes to their job search too. So this is definitely a safe and comfortable space for you to be able to ask away.
Okay, so we have some questions coming in for you, Tiffany. We have a question. Is it necessary to verify oneself on LinkedIn?
Not necessarily. So I think with LinkedIn, I know there's an option to verify yourself with your current employer. Like they will send an email to your work email to verify that it's you. That's not necessary. I do feel that once all of the required and relevant fields are completed on your profile, it's obvious that it's you. So you may not necessarily need to do that.
Thank you. Someone else is asking, what about LinkedIn courses? So maybe should they add LinkedIn courses, take LinkedIn courses? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so LinkedIn Learning, if you do have access to that, I do highly recommend taking a few courses here and there, especially if it, of course, we want it to be relevant to your industry, we want it to be relevant to your background. So maybe you've been a little bit quiet on LinkedIn, you want to bring some engagement and life back into your profile. Completing a course is a really quick way to do that, or and receiving that certification, people would be liking, commenting. So that will kind of boost a little bit of engagement to your profile as well. It doesn't necessarily always have to be published to your profile, but if you do feel that you are actively job searching, you see that people might be going to your profile a little bit more, there's some traffic there, then highly I would recommend doing that.
Okay, thank you so much. So there's a question here. What if someone left a toxic work environment and set up LinkedIn? Um, any tips if you've sort of had a negative experience, at an employer, and they had over 4 years experience here, but obtained skills here, just not sure how to handle, I guess, if they've had a difficult employment
Mhm.
experience on how to handle it on LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's definitely a good question. And I'm sorry that you also had to deal with that as well. And thankfully, you're no longer within that environment. So that's always a positive. That is definitely tricky. I don't know the details of it, but 4 years is fairly significant. It's not that you were unemployed. Maybe you were just happy, like unhappily employed where you were. Again, depending on the situation, you are still more than welcome to add that information to your profile. However, maybe you don't want to go in depth with your responsibilities that you were holding at that time. So yeah, again, depending on the situation, I'm not exactly sure the details, but 4 years is fairly significant to kind of omit from your profile and to remove from your resume. Hopefully, we can include that information, especially if there were skills that you were learning. We really want to make sure that we're highlighting that information to employers as well. So maybe you may not have to provide a reference, but we still want to be able to speak on at least a few things because 4 years is a little significant. And you were working and you were, earning, you were learning, there were skills that you were obtaining as well. So I would probably recommend keeping that, but maybe focusing on your other jobs and your other skills a little bit more and not drawing all of the attention to that one specific role.
I have a good question here. Can you add the Devant assessment results so it gives the employer a better idea about yourself?
That's a good question. What are your thoughts on that, Sisha? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that anything that demonstrates you've invested time to improve your career readiness skills and your career prep shows that you're invested and you've done worked and you're ready to start a job and you have that emotional intelligence when you've done some assessments. Also, depending on which assessment you're referring to, I think it depends on what kind of content you're going to be putting out there. So, for example, if you've done an assessment that talks about your strengths, or an assessment that that shows your aptitude, you could definitely put those types of assessments up there. But there might be other assessments that may not work to your advantage. So, I think that some of the things you might want to consider is including the fact that you've done career readiness training or you've done work preparation training. If you've done something there, I know there's different kinds of assessments that talk about your strengths, as I mentioned. They're called different things. People have different opinions about certain assessments. So again, I would consult with a career coach just to make sure the information you're putting out there is to your advantage.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay, this is a good question. Why is cold emailing or messaging from LinkedIn proven to be more effective than applying for jobs virtually through LinkedIn with the same resume file?
Yeah, that's definitely a good question. So let me just read that over to make sure I understand properly. So rather than applying through virtual jobs with LinkedIn, you're sending a message. So honestly, I like to do both of those things, to be quite honest with you. So if you find an opportunity online, apply for it, especially if it's through LinkedIn. and then also following up with a message as well. So there are times where in the past I've applied for a job on a company website, I've applied for it on LinkedIn, I sent a message. So a lot of extra work in order to get my profile flagged and noticed. Again, when it comes to cold emailing, cold messaging, you may not always get the response that you're looking for. I've been ghosted. I get ghosted almost every week when it comes to LinkedIn and when it comes to contacting clients, employers. So it is something that happens. But the people who do respond, the people who are willing to help, they are truly, genuinely willing to help and support you in the process of your job search, in the process of passing your resume along as well. And the thing I like about LinkedIn is that it's a real person. There's a profile, there's a picture. So it does bring a little bit of that human touch to the job search process rather than just looking at applications all day long.
Thanks, Tiffany. We could have a whole session just on outreach,
Mhm.
actually, and
Yeah.
how to be effective in your outreach.
Mhm.
So someone's asking, would it be advantageous to have Canadian work or volunteer experience?
100%. There is a very unfortunate bias, and I don't even enjoy using the term Canadian experience. But if you do have volunteer experience from Canada, you're internationally trained professional, it is beneficial to have some of that experience on your resume. So whether that be work experience, volunteering, you are closing a gap in your employment history, you're gaining skills. And most importantly, if you are in need of a reference, usually employers and organizations will ask for you to have about 2 to 3 references. You are also possibly open to providing the volunteer reference as well. So that's another thing that you can also use and leverage that for.
Hmm. I just want to mention as well, it's actually not legal for employers to ask you for Canadian work experience when assessing you for a job application. And just to be clear, what Tiffany's referring to is, although there is a law around this, there might be certain, licensed credentials or experience that are required for certain regulated professions that are important. For example, in the medical field. But at the same time, although it is something where the provincial government has tried to protect, against this bias, that if you do have Canadian work experience, what we've seen is that it still becomes an advantage. So I agree that Canadian work experience is tough to get, especially when you're an international or newcomer to the area, or even as an alumni or someone who's new doing a career switch. So how do you get this Canadian experience if you don't get a chance? So that's when you have different opportunities, not just through volunteer, but your work integrated learning experiences, through networking, through getting on different activities where you can demonstrate your professionalism, your work ethic. If it's specific related to the industry, there might be industry associations and other things that you can do. We do recognize it's difficult, and that's why the government has implemented a law around international work experience versus Canadian work experience. So it's just something to be aware of, and it is tough situation. But I think I just want to clarify that it is not legal in Ontario, anyways, for employers to ask you for Canadian work experience. Let's go to the next
Mhm.
question. How do I know whom to reach out regarding job infos and tips and suggestions regarding the workplace I'm attempting to apply for? And how can you teach the AI chat bots to be more non-biased on selection of questions? It's pretty vague at times.
Yeah, so let's start with the first part. So, how do I know who to reach out to regarding job info and tips and suggestions regarding the workplace? So, when it comes to LinkedIn specifically, that's the easiest way, I guess, if you're trying to find out who works there, who could you possibly get in touch with. So I didn't go into too much LinkedIn and kind of like the tools and the job area, but what you can do is once you search for the name of the organization that you would like to work for or apply for, if they have their own page on LinkedIn, you can head to people And then once you head to people, you can put in keywords there like human resource, recruiter, and it will show you exactly who you're looking for. And you can even tailor that even further by putting in your location. So if they are a global organization and you're looking just to kind of stay a little bit local within the GTA, within Canada, or even Ontario, you have the opportunity to do that. So that will definitely support you in that process of narrowing down who exactly it is that you want to reach out to. And then how can we teach the AI chatbot to be non-biased on selection of questions? It's pretty vague at times. So when you say selection of questions, is this in terms of interview preparation? Um, and again, it's something that's still evolving. We're all still learning as well. So if it is for the sake of a job interview, um, I will assume you can always correct me in the chat. What I do personally is I paste the job description. I ask for different types of interview questions. Is it behavioral, situational, and then the STAR method as well. So if you need a little bit of a formula when it comes to answering questions. You can be very specific. The more information, the better. So maybe that's why it could be a little bit vague at times. So I hope that helps. But yeah, when it comes to AI and job search, it's a whole other added layer that we've been given to kind of navigate throughout the process.
Great. Thank you so much, Tiffany. Okay, someone is saying I bring extensive experience from broadcast media industry and now building a career in design. How can I best position this transition as a strength rather than a limitation? And this is also a very big question that probably is best suited in an actual coaching session. But Tiffany, maybe you can talk about this as a career transition and
Mhm.
how this candidate can approach this from a personal branding perspective.
Absolutely. So let me just read this over again. So broadcast media and then design. So the biggest thing I would try to look at is your transferable skills. So what are the skills from broadcast media? What can you take from there and apply to design? So that's the first thing that I would look at. Again, going back to LinkedIn, I have a huge bias. I love LinkedIn. I highly encourage everyone to get on that platform. Even if you are not active on there, at least to just kind of get on and see what is happening within the industry, follow a few organizations and companies and see, it's just helpful information and it's free as well. So yeah, going back to the question, focus on your transferable skills. That is the biggest thing I would try to say when it comes to tailoring your resume, when it comes to deciding what it is that you want to keep on your profile versus what you would like to remove. Really think about that a little bit. And then even going on to LinkedIn to see if there's anyone else who has followed a similar career path. So again, using that search option, typing in keywords, looking at profiles. You can look at as many profiles as you like. It's a free platform. So maybe you're looking at the trajectory of their work experience. You're noticing, okay, they started off in this and then they switched to this. That is where we can enter some of those keywords and anyone who has followed something similar, they will show up. So that's an opportunity for you to say, hey, I come from the same background. I pivoted into this. I see that you've done something similar. Do you mind, meeting with me for a coffee chat or an informational interview, something along those lines? I've supported tons of clients that have started in one career in their life. They moved countries, or maybe they were laid off. They're looking for a different change. And it does happen. You are allowed to make changes. You are allowed to pivot. And I really just want to remind you to focus on your strengths. It doesn't matter what job, what industry that you worked at, there's always transferable skills that you can take on to another place of work or another place of employment.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Tiffany. I'm going to ask maybe to move to the next slide as
Mhm.
well. I know that we had some great conversation and great questions. For those of you who are not sure what comes after graduation, if you are a new grad, please say hi in the chat. We'd like to invite you to join the Alumni Advantage. It is a big milestone finishing school, and launching your career can feel like a whole new set of challenges. Whether, you've just graduated or you're searching for a while, it's normal to feel unsure about what comes next. So the good news is that Devant is here for you. You don't have to figure it out on your own. Please scan to register, and you will be able to access extra tools and extra resources to help you as a new grad. In addition to that, we have a network of supportive partners and employers. Maybe we could get the next slide. As a special perk for you, one of our partners is CIBC, and they are offering banking perks and exclusive offers for banking products for international students, newcomers, as well as new grads. The code, if you are opening up an account or accessing any of the banking products, is Devant. Devant, and you will be able to get some extra banking perks, support, and also be part of the Devon community through CIBC. So we would love for you to take a look at it on the website as well. You'll see some more information coming from CIBC. And I just want to close by saying, first of all, thank you so much to Tiffany, so much for presenting and sharing your expertise with us. Thanks to everyone for providing us your feedback. I'd really love to sort of hear from you as well in terms of what are some of your financial goals. We are looking at doing upcoming events and want to make sure that we understand what are some of your financial goals and what you're looking to achieve. But from a personal branding perspective, with the use now of AI and different tools, I just want to mention that it's really important to be authentic. And also, remember that technology is a tool for you. However, you want to make sure that your personality, your strengths, as Tiffany mentioned, shine through. And how you do that will be unique to your own personal story. So every one of you here is very unique. You come with specific experiences, lived experiences, different types of work, of volunteer, community experiences. And I think that sometimes there is a pull to sound very similar to your colleagues or to friends. However, I want to encourage you to really reflect on your experiences and to understand what is your personal brand. And this session was really to talk to you about establishing a personal brand online. LinkedIn is one tool. You also have other social media tools available to you. So, for example, Instagram, you have other online chat groups that you're on, WhatsApp groups. There are so many different electronic and digital tools and communication channels right now. So, I just want to encourage you to think about LinkedIn as one tool. It's very popular for job search, but if you are present on chat groups, every time you make a comment, you share photos, you comment on other people's photos, or you make an opinion piece. So, for example, today we have our space shuttle going out into space through a very exciting and a monumental day today. If you're passionate about different causes like the environment, space, water, and you are commenting online on LinkedIn or otherwise in chat groups, just be aware of everything that you're saying and making sure that you think very carefully about what is the brand that you are portraying externally on all digital medias. And you can control the brand by the comments, your pictures, what you're putting out on, as opinions. Maybe if you're volunteering, or if, as I said before, if you have a passion, whatever that may be, you can start talking about that, writing opinion papers, publishing things on LinkedIn. Maybe you're involved in your community, even on sports fields. I've seen people get jobs based on their curiosity, based on their interest. So I just want to encourage you to just continue being yourself. Think about your brand and just reflect on it. If you want to find out, take a pulse of what is my brand? Ask, talk to friends, family, employers, talk to your community, your classmates. even here on our online conversations that we're having, it's really important for you to talk to each other. I see some of you have been introducing each other. This is a space for you to get support. So please make sure you connect with each other, talk to each other about, maybe doing a LinkedIn audit, getting some feedback, test what your brand looks like today, and then figure out where do you want your brand to be, and then how can you make some comments or add content on a consistent basis so that you establish and amend that brand, especially if you're a career switcher. Okay. So those would just be some closing comments. Wishing you guys all good luck. Again, Tiffany, did you have any other last comments before we go? We
Yeah,
have a
yeah,
little
just
bit
a
more
few
time.
things. Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much for that. I think the biggest takeaway from what you just mentioned right now is individuality is so important right now. I think that is some really helpful advice that you just shared with everyone. So please ensure that you are thinking about your personal brand, you are thinking about your comments, you are thinking about who you interact with as well. That is very, very important right now in the process. I just want to say good luck to all of you. I know job searching is not necessarily the easiest thing, but the fact that you joined here, the fact that you stayed on is already a huge advantage and tells us the kind of job seeker that you are. Attend sessions, attend networking events, put yourself out there. It's definitely uncomfortable, can be awkward at times, but maybe that's just myself projecting onto all of you. Again, LinkedIn is a huge platform for you to be able to, leverage all of this information, be successful, apply for opportunities, volunteer where you can, but most importantly, take breaks. It can take a lot out of you to constantly apply for these jobs, tailor your resume, network, info sessions, coffee chats. Just make sure you create a routine, a schedule for yourself, take care of your body, take care of your mind. As well throughout this process. But yeah, wishing you all the best, fingers crossed, when it comes to your job search and your journey.
Bye, everyone. See you next time.